This has a lot to do with having to be firm, but with your sense of spirit all mixed in together. This is your spirit that you may be having to, excuse me, show up in this way, in this sense of true essence that you're bringing about, and showing up for everybody as is, firm with your sense of spirit, your true essence. This is what is coming up. Hi, welcome to Safe Space. Let's go ahead and get started with this reading. This is a general collective reading. Let's start by having to let your shoulders down, relax your eyebrows, your tongue. And while we are getting ready to shuffle these cards, let's go ahead and take deep breaths, collective. Let's not forget this is a free task, a reminder that will also change your mood, and having to shift your mood just by taking deep, long breaths throughout the day, making sure that we are still alive in there, and just by having to take a few deep breaths throughout the day, this will definitely help us center and get grounded. Again, welcome to Safe Space. First card up, we have the Four of Swords. Funny, this card came up earlier as I was pre-shuffling for our collective's energy. I've been waking up extra early, enjoying the sun, enjoying the sunrise, enjoying the view from where I'm at always. Oop, Page of Cups. Excuse me, I dropped a card. Page of Cups. A lot of this youthful, I cannot speak today, sorry. Youthful, kindred energy just floating around among us. This is a beautiful energy. I love that Page of Cups. To me, I feel the Page of Cups carries a whole lot of kindred spirit, youthful, young at heart. This is a young individual who is very proud of their expressions and not afraid to speak up in this way, not a shame or even sense of fear, always just wanting to be kind and embodying energy, generosity, energy. What I mean by energy is that this is energy that they bring to all. This is spreading joy and spreading that kindred spirit. Okay, we have Justice here. Two of Pentacles, interesting. We have the Devil that came out with those two cards. Major Arcana, the Justice, and the Devil. Let's go ahead and keep shuffling. That's too many cards. Okay, I do feel that there are a lot of energies just mixed in, okay? And one is what I'm getting. This is what I'm picking up, collective. So just take what absolutely connects. In the beginning of this, I said, let your shoulders down, relax your eyebrows, your tongue, let your original face set in. I was not finished with that, my bad. I have the Page of Wands and it came up in reversed here. the Seven of Swords. And by having to allow ourselves to settle in our original face, you guys, it's having to put us in a very mindful meditation state of mind, just being completely relaxed and breathing, and having to remember to take those deep breaths always when you have the time to check in with yourself and with your friends, your family members, your loved ones, you know. And in moments like this, when we are having to check in with ourselves, you know, we open up to also checking in with the people around us, taking in this time to sit and just breathe and taking deep breaths, staying here for a minute and just letting your breathing and the unfoldment happen as you stay present and always being here. And thank you for being here once again. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world and when you find this video, and I hope that it found you at the right time, collective. Again, I was talking about how there's this firm, kindred spirit all around, just mixed in one room. I feel like this time around we're having to really just focus on rest, and whatever that may be for you in your life. I feel like resting comes in different types, right? Our resting the mind, it's like all in different categories. You have like having to rest the mind, different taking on different actions and having to rest the mind and having to rest the mind. This could be for some of us just having to sit right on the couch. Right now we're around family members, we're around cousins, we're around close friends, we're around a lot of people that we may not even know, having to pass around energy and exchanging energies to one another. This is all of us all in one room, and I feel that in having this Four of Swords come up is, I feel, indicating this is the sense of rest that we all may be having to pass on, exchange this energy around in the room. And I feel this sense of like the rest, it's very, very peaceful, serenity. It is the balance that we're bringing about to one another, crossing paths with each other right now, different groups, meeting, our family is reconnecting and bonding. I feel like this all sets in a different tone, giving us a sense of feeling at home, sense of being at peace. And it's this willingness to also be very mindful of having to meet each other in the middle and not having to pounce or be aggressive right away, but giving each other time to breathe and get to know one another by exchanging energies, keeping ourselves in a very softer ground, so that we're able to also exchange that energy to other people and not being so aggressive with our words. I do also feel like we're preparing, and what also feels having to, sometimes we do this thing where we kind of rehearse what we're going to do before we get into participate in a group setting, or perhaps going out and doing activities. For some of us who are very much highly sensitive to others' emotions, could feel this resistance that's occurring, or what will occur if it hasn't happened already. Some of us are very hypersensitive energy-wise. This is helping us grow also at the same time, and that maybe this current is pushing us to participate more rather than having to resist, but stepping out and giving ourselves a chance to actually experience. A time to resist a whole lot, but I feel like also this comes from having to forebode the joy that we feel in the present moment. And sometimes that can also be overwhelming, and having to feel so much of that joy, so much of that love, that there is this little bit of tinge when we feel like we have to kind of resist that and not take it, like we are feeling somewhat guilty for having to feel this way, having to celebrate, having to feel joyous, having to feel happy. But I feel that for some of us, this is just getting to know ourselves in a happy state. Take it as it resonates. I do feel like a lot of this kindred spirit, friendship is what's coming up. Rebuilding friendship, Page of Cups. This is your own sense of generosity that you have been practicing on yourself, and now you having to give all of that to the people around you. It's very inspiring. And what comes with this peace that we're bringing about to one another, having to exchange that sense of peace, right? Because that too, we've been doing the work and doing that inner work, doing that shadow work, and it's showing up for all of us in this rooted in generosity and mindfulness, having this sense of self-awareness that we have, that we're also having to radiate and pass on to other people around us. This kindred spirit that keeps coming up, this is what's saving us to keep that harmony, to keep that balance within one another, within each other, within the group, within yourself. Not so aggressive, not to be so aggressive to yourself, but to be more kind. Sometimes coming out of trauma, from healing trauma, we do not feel this familiarity when it comes to people loving us. When it comes to people wanting to give love, sometimes there is also this resistance in having to not take the compliment or take the love. It's almost way too impossible or hard. Like there's this roadblock, there's this mental blockage when someone's trying to give us love and we're not able to receive it right away. I feel that coming out of the healing, the trauma healing, this journey that you've been on healing, sometimes stepping out for the first time in a long time after isolation, after distancing yourself, right? Because you've been doing so much healing, coming out of it, it may not be so familiar just yet when people are wanting to give you the love that they feel you deserve, and they know this, but you are just want to just really take it slowly, step by step, because it is overwhelming to receive love, because sometimes we don't understand what that feels like to us just yet, coming out of trauma. Correct. Especially around this season, especially in this season when we are receiving a lot of love, when we are hearing so much of this Christmassy, and that we have this tendency to be the Grinch, to pout and not be so grateful in times when we know we have to be more grateful, because being grateful gives us so much, and less the bad, or in this case less the being impatient, not being so grateful, but being more. And by being more, you too being more to other people. This is why we heal, so that we are also able to give back to all, and not giving this sense of falsehood, false identity, and not willing to, don't know exactly where I was going with that, but I digress. Sorry, sometimes I just kind of go on. But I feel this energy, and it's almost like I'm in absolute, like in this tunnel of just like downloads within itself, and the messages are just coming through, tapping into this energy, this intuition. And I love this right now. I feel like I just can keep going with this. And while we are having to shower ourselves with so much peace and harmony within each other, this is also having to change a whole lot in the inside, changing a whole lot in the inner world, you know. This is also what I picked up earlier, thinking bigger, letting our perception really expand, but also at the same time we have to be willing to feel the feels and accept the feels, because once we get into that place of acceptance of just everything and everyone, how much this light just blooms and shines, and it'll just burst into flames. It's just like that moment when you see fireworks, it just like at the same time, like at the right time, when it just goes. This is the energy that is coming up in what you may be feeling. Stepping into a bigger feeling, bigger perception, bigger picture. Visions are bigger also. We are standing in the middle of where we are and where we want to be. We are standing in the middle of our power. However you are using your power at this time will also determine where you have been with your strength, carrying that strength. I seen a post earlier on YouTube. She was talking about what it means. What does strength, and the definition of strength? What is your definition of strength? That will be today's question of the day, I suppose. How do you define strength? How would you define strength in your life through your lens, your experience? And how do you use strength? And when in times do you use your strength? I do also feel that there is this sense in the air right now of having to grasp a whole lot of this self-control and what we are able to use with this. Okay. You want to bring the harmony, the peacemaker, okay, or we want to use our energy to entertain and use it for stupid things. This energy that you're feeling is big in perception, and I'm hoping that we are using this for a good cause and not something to just entertain for a temporary fix. That's disgusting and gross. Let's move on. Some of us are having to really push through and overcome obstacles, awkward situations, people that we may be hanging around with for way too long, and times when we know there has to be healthy boundaries. But they too is someone who's bringing you this sense of balance. So it's okay right now, but just make sure and be mindful that they're not using you for something that will benefit them but not benefit you. This is a time to just really understand one another and just try not to betray and be deceitful, because it's so unnecessary. Having to give yourself some time to self-reflect will prevent us from having to be so deceitful and have this tendency to lie. You know how it's just, there's just like weird energies sometimes in the air that makes us do certain things and behave a certain way to one another and treat each other a certain way, mislead, this sense of misleading. We don't need that. We can just sit and be understanding with one another, having to meet each other in the middle, having a sense of common ground. This will also break this tendency to lie, this tendency to be deceitful, this tendency to absolutely like lie. Like sometimes we do these things to have a sense of protection, but like it messes up all conversations. Like it doesn't, it takes away the meaning and the purpose of things when we have to lie to because we feel shame, or lie because I'm afraid to express this part of me. I'm too vulnerable. I'm too vulnerable for this. But to just really be honest. This loyalty is also what I'm picking up with the devil. I feel like there are some of us with this Two of Pentacles, there are some of us that's just having to just sit in our power and like let all of that energy just exude out to people who need it, absolutely need it. And we are one having to just stand in our own wealth, just having to share and spread that love and that joy and that prosperity. Like I said, there are a lot of us that's like entertaining things that's just not very essential or even adding any value to you or quality. It's just not, it doesn't make any sense. It's not necessary. Why would you want to continue on having to entertain things that does not even add value or like make you feel good? This kindred spirit, this like energy that you also want to exude to people, surround yourself with children. And then just see how that makes you feel, if it also changes anything in what you feel inside. Your perception also will probably change. And if it doesn't, well, man, dude, there's something wrong with you. Just kidding. Children, having to surround ourselves with children, they know best. You'll probably learn a whole lot from children when we allow ourselves to open up to that, when we hear children laugh, when we, when they're just around, there's just this sense of spirit, like higher spirit, higher love, all going up, 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 ascending, 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 and not entertaining. Just to have that sense of temporary fix, that feeling of like, I need this, I want that, just to get that adrenaline rush going, or just to get that dopamine release going. Like it's not the most essential, or it's not the most helpful, but rather take on a different direction where you are still able to have that feel good release, the feel good, right? But in a more healthy perspective, healthy, more constructive, feel good. One that isn't demanding right away and needs to have this right now and I need to feel this, but rather to work on it and feel the pain through it all. Not saying that, should go to pain when, it's having to accept the pain and then also having to move on, using that to create or be of service to others and be empathetic, not having to lie too much to yourself because you care too much of what other people think, or not lying to yourself because you feel a sense of self-hate, and not lying to yourself because others are not seeing you the way you want to be seen, but being true to yourself, and then bringing balance to everybody else around you is what is most essential. I'm just going to keep going with this energy. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for always being supportive of my channel, staying close. I really, really appreciate it. Knight of Pentacles, we have the Sun, Three of Swords. Coming back healthier, more aware, setting healthy boundaries. I feel like this is new beginnings happening. I also feel like it's having to just really ground us and staying humble, and remembering to stay humble. You know, when good things arise, when it is your turn to light up, to shine, and, you know, show off a little bit and not be so afraid of your accomplishments. This is also having to remember, having us self-reflect and remember all of the things that we've accomplished and what we have done with that, coming out as brand new, lit up, and also really having to remember where we came from, our roots, ancestors, and the story behind everything, every movement. If you were to sit with yourself or just be aware for a minute where you are when you're during Christmas, where you are during Christmas, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, who you're surrounded with. Like, just look around for just a few minutes and just remember the feeling, and the vibe that you're getting in the room, and remember where you are. Be more also self-aware of how you feel and the vibe that you get around Christmas Day during this season, and how you're feeling with yourself. And it's also, remember to sometimes write that down in your journal so that you can go back and see the difference in your mood, right? This is a lot of this acceptance, okay, with the Sun. Better days to come. Remember what I said about change just now? I said new beginnings, a lot of this new beginnings, right? 6 of Wands. Sitting in what you have worked on, your dedication and your time, sitting with yourself and just doing a lot of self-acceptance. I'm getting a whole lot of that, you guys. I think that's amazing.